Welcome to Yankee Upholstery Gulag. So today we're going to take these things apart. I'm a little under the weather. This is New England, and New England is cold. And when it's cold like that, everybody else has got germs, and they are going to give it to you, whether you like it or not. So we are taking this apart, and we're getting it, taking the old fabric off and some of the old nails and seeing what's going on here. Preparation is everything in this. So we gotta, it's a dusty mess. Now, we had said originally that this wasn't reupholstered. This was reupholstered in the sense that they put a cover right over the old cover, but they never removed the original cover. And what we have here is the black horsehair fabric with this. I'm assuming this fabric here is 100 years old, by the way it's falling apart and the style of it. I'd have to say that looks like probably somewhere in the 20s or 30s or something like that it was put on. But they went right over the top of it. And there's upholsterers out there that still do that type of work where they cover over the old fabric like that, because the time is in the preparation. And so, if you can go over something, you don't have to take it apart. Padding's not disturbed. They like that because that means they make money. They make more money. I don't do that type of work. I've never done that type of work. And just pulling out all the old staples and tacks and things like that to make it a better surface so that we can fasten it again and not worry about hitting the head of a tack, so that we don't make a mess of it, make it worse than it is. So this is the screw that was used to secure it to the front. This is the front of the piece. This is the left arm. See, it's broken here. Be very careful with this. This is horsehair, woven horsehair fabric. And they blind tacked it on the front here. So you gotta be very careful with this stuff because it crumbles in your hand. And you see where it started? It split right there. That big old nail I told you about. Use the old nails, they split the wood. We'll glue that up and that'll be plenty fine. I want to clean it up to get all the old nails out. There's a piece here. Goes like that. We'll glue that in there and it'll be stronger than it ever was. Factories, they would take that frame and they'd vary it. It would change around. And you could have different things and styles and padding, and so we want to make it the way, I mean, obviously there's things that I'm not going to do like they did, but can we knock them because it lasted a couple hundred years, you know? And does your work last, is it going to last a couple hundred years? That screw twine still hold, I mean that twine still hold pretty good for all them years. The old button, there's the button. It ain't too much different than what the buttons are today. They had a die and so on, and they made it. You know, this is the woven horsehair. Tough stuff. I'm sure it was made in the United States. Now this here is wood shavings. More desirable would be to have horsehair padding. You know, that's still holding up pretty good, I think, for its age. But obviously, we're going to throw it out. These are tedious, and you got to really know what you're doing when you're working on this old stuff, because it's fragile, and there's nothing really to go by. You don't really have a pattern here with this thing. It's just you're going to have a knowledge of how something is supposed to look. So we got another bad side here too. But this is very typical. You've got the pine like this, and it's got the big nails, and it's cut on the curve, on the grain. This goes on all the time. This loose stuff, that we're gonna glue that, and it'll be good. As we get more of this off. There's a difference between a good job and a great job. A good job, I wouldn't even say it was a good job, but the last person that did this, they covered right over the old material, didn't take it off, well, they upholstered it. Or you can take it off, fix all these cracks in here and stuff, and these loose joints, and make it so that somebody can enjoy it. It's a restoration at this point. If you want to do a nice job and get in there and make it be exceptional, well, that's what we're going to do. You have to do these steps, and experience tells me that this is how we do it. It's a dirty job too, it really is. I mean, there's no way I'm going to look good doing this. It's the dust from the frame, it's dust from the horsehair, the padding, and also the wood shavings. And that just, over time, it just like a piece of paper yellows. Wood is slower than the paper at aging. And these areas here are critical when it fits together, because everything's going to fit together nice. We don't want any gaps where there's big spaces, or there's too much padding here and nothing's going to fit right. And this is the screw that screws from the inside to those supports in the front, but doesn't go protruding through it. You always got to, it'd be a real bad day if you put the wrong screw in and went through the front. Now these are the nails that hold the twine that had the buttons. You go right through the old holes, you find out that the buttons they put in were just all over the place. But that's the way they did things back then. Sometimes it was exceptional, and other times it was, you want a place to sit? Well, it got you a place to sit. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start gluing this up. It's on there pretty good, so we're going to glue this. Alright, so this is a special hot wood glue. It's wonderful stuff. This ain't regular, ain't your mom's craft making glue. And put that together. And it's very strong. I'm going to put in some of these joints in here. What I did earlier is I spread the nails apart a little bit. Put the glue in there. It's already strong. My dad used to say, you know, you test the glue gun, stick your finger out, and you put the hot glue on it. And if it's, you know, it's done, you'll know it. If it's ready. I remember he did that to the UPS driver, and he didn't think it was too funny. So knock it apart a little bit. You can actually inject it into the wood and go down pretty far. And it's very, very strong, so to be honest with you, it's probably they've been broke since they were put together. Just little hairline cracks. And then we got any little drip marks with the glue, you can go with a razor blade and trim that later. And that's pretty good. You'll see how much stronger that is. It's pretty impressive. These pieces back here, we're going to probably replace those. We'll leave them on as a reference. But as far as the back over there, we have to assemble everything. That'll be the way to do it. That's the front, this is the back. This is one of the supports. So we're going to have to see how it is. If it was something that could be glued, if it was just when you have a joint like this that's irregular like this, you can see right there was a screw or a nail right there, split it. You glue that, it'll be stronger than it ever was. So let's grab the other one. Yeah, you'll never be clean doing this. This is really rough shape. We keep it together, and it'll go back together easier. All the nails that they put. If we do anything, it's going to be screws. We're not going to use nails. See some of these coming out too. Leave it out for now, and then we'll put some glue in there, and then we'll hit it in. But people back in the old days, you wouldn't make something so comfortable that they would fall asleep in your parlor while you're trying to have a conversation with them. That'd be very rude. Today, I suppose a lot of people think it's positive that somebody falls asleep in your house that they're so comfortable, but not then so much. Take it apart, this one too. I'm amazed how strong that button twine is still after all these years. Usually it would just be a flax type stuff that they would use. This is what they would use over. They'd put this felt over the wood shavings or hair. I would see this old felt so that you wouldn't feel the lumps so much in the bumps. It smoothed it out, and it's not very thick, and that's all they had. They didn't have anything over that. You'll see that they took a chisel and they wanted it rounded because they didn't want these sharp edges be right where the people put their arms. So they just took a wood chisel and chiseled that away, knocked the edge down. A lot of times you can grab hold of the fabric and pull up on it in such a way to pull the tack out with it. But pulling on fabric and stuff and you're taking it apart is more, you're doing that more than you think. Oops. It is a mess. We'll fix that. It'll be stronger than it was, you'll see. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, back with the glue gun.
Those nails out. About the glue, the hot glue, what glue is that? It fills voids. see how this is on an angle? They cut it straight. It didn't really matter how they made it back then. Nowadays, if somebody were to make something like this, we'd want to have it, you know, cut right. You put that in there, you can fill it in. And if it's not dried very well, the wood, it works. It just moves, gaps form, and this is really good for helping that. There's no movement. This is that little piece that I took off earlier because I didn't want to lose it. I had to finish taking all these tacks out. Well, it's going to be a little tough here. Really so much for strength for this piece, but we want the shape. That's why we're using it. And the glue is hot to your fingers, but it's more important you get the job done. Burning your finger is not so important. You can tell by the wood, it's just the color of the wood. It's very, very old. Yeah, you'll see how strong that is now. We got a corner block in there, we're gonna glue that up. You can already feel the strength of it right now. I mean, it's strong. Zero movement at all. Makes a good improvement. These are Roman numerals. What do those mean? 29 would be
1829.
1828, 1829. So it could be. This is how they're going to be positioned. This would be the seat, and then the back. The angle out. So you have the screws that would hold to the front, to the back. Everything's messy. Once you get it prepped, it goes a little bit smoother because everything's clean. You've looked at everything. You've taken it apart, and you have an idea how it's going to go back together. Mixture of old nails, new nails. You can see over here, when we put these in, these screws, if you notice, I noticed one before we took it apart, they didn't have the right, whoever did this, they didn't have the right screw. And if they were to use one, you know, full length like that, straight through, it would probably protrude through the back, and they'd feel it. I'd say so it'd be a, well, they were worried about it. So all these screws are going in on an angle. Which is kind of, you know, you don't really see that. we're gonna use the right screws. We'll use a modern screw. It'll be covered up. It'll be stronger than this. These old holes are augered out. Detail in here. They made little filler pieces, so you can be able to see that that was made of the second material that they put on there. So we used the hot wood glue, filling in the voids. Some of the joints with those big nails and rough cut lumber that they used back in the day was hardly, the best that there was back in the day, but that's the way they made the furniture. Tonight we worked on the arms and just more preparation and trying to make the piece a little bit more stronger than what it was when you're working on something like this, because there's lots of surprises with these old pieces and stuff. So that's what we did today. And then next is we're going to take the backs, the padding off the backs, and we got to prep those. It's another messy job again. Those are the ones that fit into the back over there. But we want to do a nice job and have everything be nice and look great and just look nice and neat. And when your upholstery lines are on there, we're going to start putting things together, and then you'll start seeing a big change in things when you put together things nice and new. You get a new perspective. It's not a piece of junk anymore. Not that it ever was, but anyways, it's something that's going to be beautiful. So we'll see you next time, okay? Thank you.